Hey, don't y'all be hating, man, because I know y'all saw me high step in that video. If you are on your podcast channel and you're not watching the video, you need to go make sure you get to our YouTube page and check out my high step as a high school football coach. People always talking about what I did in the national championship game and doing those kind of things. But brother, man, let me tell you something. I'm still a little agile. These hips feel pretty good. I'm doing all that I can. All right. So make sure you get to Teague's Take Podcast on YouTube. Subscribe and like. Thank you all for joining in the show tonight. We got a very special edition today. We're joining forces with the Bama Standard. Thank you to our friends of Teague's Take. Justin Riley, we appreciate you. Marvin Constant, Bo Scarborough, Stephen A. Smith,
Stephen M. Smith.
M. Smith, sorry. The comic Steve Brown. He's always doing the Serial Chronicles. If you're not watching him on Instagram, they're absolutely hilarious. It's great to have everyone in here tonight about that. Couple reminders also. Don't forget about the George Teague and Friends, George Teague and Family Endowed Scholarship Fund at the University of Alabama. If anybody ever wants to give to that, we don't ask for very much on Teague's Take about it, but we do want you to support our scholarship fund. You can find us at uh, Teague's the Teague Family Scholarship.com, Teague Family Scholarship.com. If you want to give to help us support someone who attends the University of Alabama. You can also visit teakstake.com. JT does a great job of putting his power pole up out there, which we'll talk about a little bit later. It's very interesting, but you can find all of our podcasts there as well. So, first, I want to go ahead and bring in JT. He is the analytical one, he is our producer. He's the one that makes all this stuff happen. He rushes from place to place during the day. He's a coder, he's doing all kind of things. Um, I'm going to say engineering, right? I guess that's still considered engineering. Um,
Yep.
okay. Then he goes coach some high school football. Then he's driving an hour from the school there, kissing his wife, kissing his kids, and being dedicated to making this show happen. So we do appreciate you for everything that you do, JT. But I'm excited about this guest that we got on tonight, JT. You know, he's a beast, man, a beast. When I tweeted about him, and I guess we can still. It just sounds weird saying when I X'd about him. So
Yeah,
when I
I'm
tweeted
not
about
I'm not on that train. It's still Twitter. You still tweet. I don't care what Elon says.
that's right. So still tweeting about him, and all the comments came back about Fred Sanford and him just having a big one every time he scored a touchdown and doing his thing. So it's absolutely amazing to be able to have this gentleman. He was the 1993 offensive. Well, he's a Sugar Bowl MVP. He had man, he was rushing, he was killing it. He took over the football game, showing out, shaking them legs, doing all this kind of stuff. He's doing big things in the community now, doing well with his kids, his family, and all this kind of stuff. He's a Super Bowl champion. People forget that he actually won a Super Bowl with the Dallas Cowboys because he was drafted in the fourth round to the Dallas Cowboys. Played 4 or 5 years in the league as well. We get to stay close, and he hasn't changed one bit. He's very fit. He does his stuff. Y'all welcome in Derrick Lassic, my man. Boy, man, boy, you ain't got no veneers, do you?
Yeah, yeah. I went to Colombia and got some veneers put in.
No, that's all right. Them things pearly white, baby. That's what I'm talking about.
Thank you. You know what I'm saying.
It's
I could have lied to you. But I always try to tell the truth.
That's all right. Them things looking good. So we're glad to have you here. So during this show, we're going to talk a lot of different things. So make sure everybody knows what we're going to talk about, right? So the first thing we got to talk about some Michigan stuff, them stealing some signals. We got to be able to talk about what bye weeks look like now that Alabama is on the bye week. We need to talk just a tad bit about what's going to happen with LSU. Got to hit the Tennessee football game as well. And then with
Yep,
our
but then you got to
news,
make sure you stick around for the film session. We've
yeah,
started doing film sessions at the end of the show, so you don't want to miss it as we break down 2 plays from the Tennessee game.
that is the highlight. We definitely have to get to those plays because I'm very curious to hear what Lassic has to say about this running play, man. But we'll get to that a little bit later because I'm very intrigued about this play that Tommy Reese put in, and will it continue to work? There's a lot of different plays that's going on with that. But Lassic, why don't you
Yeah.
tell us what you're up to first, man? What are you doing now? Uh,
Well, I'm here in the Atlanta metro area. I stay in a city called Smyrna. I'm working with a guy called Brian Willis, B&W Constructions. He's kind of teaching me the ropes on how to build houses. So I built a house and sold it probably in the spring of this year. It was a very, very big learning lesson. You know what I'm saying? I didn't make as much money as I thought I was going to make because of, you know, the cost of goods going up, cost of everything was going up, except, we had to keep the house at a reasonable price. And then I work a lot with my son. I have him in, he's in Taekwondo, he's in boxing. During the summer, I'd had him with a private coach. So now he's at a local gym. So he's been there for 3 weeks, or he's gone there 3 times. So the first time the coach had him spar with someone, he hit the kid, gave him an uppercut. The kid started crying. So it was a
hold on, that don't sound like Taekwondo, man.
no,
Uppercut.
no, this is boxing.
Yeah,
Oh,
So he goes to boxing on Thursdays. So he caught the kid with an uppercut, and the kid started crying. The coach, he's like, "Your son's not gonna start crying if I put him in the ring, right?" I said, "No, because he's never sparred in boxing. He's only sparred in Taekwondo." So he hit the kid with an uppercut, made him cry. So today he boxed. He hit a kid to the midsection with the right hook. I mean, it sounded like a thud. Poof! And the kid just bent over and started crying. So then they put him in a ring with the kid who's been boxing for like 5, 6 years, and he's also 11 years old. My son's 7. My son went 3 rounds and held his own, and the coach was like, "Man, if you stick to boxing, this kid will be serious." I said, "No, my son is not gonna box. I got him in there just so he can defend himself, and I know boxing's good for footwork. So when he plays basketball or any other sport, his footwork will be intact." And that's it. I've been married now for 9 years. Next year will be 10 years. And that's about it.
congratulations on that, brother. And
Thanks.
you know, getting that mile marker, being able to be married for 10 years. Make sure you get her something nice. I don't know what I can't remember what 10 years is. Is that
You've been
silver
married.
or I've been married 30 years.
Yeah, I know. You've been married so long, you don't remember what the 10-year was.
Yeah, I don't remember what that is. But there's something that you're supposed to be getting to her. So make sure you look that up because she will
Yeah.
appreciate it.
My,
If
my wife
you,
trips. She likes to go on trips. Like we on our 8th anniversary, I took her to Dubai.
oh,
Yeah,
nice.
yeah. So she likes trips. So she's like, "Oh, the mother stuff's okay. Just take me on vacations."
Well, I hadn't been there yet. All right. So speaking of taking trips, let's take a trip up to the north, Michigan, and Jim Harbaugh, or I guess not Jim. What's his name? Uh,
it's Jim. John is the one in Baltimore.
yeah, Jim Harbaugh seemed like he always caught up in something.
Ah,
He didn't
yeah.
really been caught about nothing,
you,
but he's
you know,
always caught up in something.
hey George, he's old school. You know what I'm saying? What was the saying back in the day? If you're not cheating, you're not competing.
Yeah, you ain't trying. You ain't trying. So,
Yeah.
so this whole deal about him stealing signals, right? And so I'm going to start with this because I want to hear what JT has to say first. Because this is what I say when someone brought it to my attention, they want to know how I felt about Harbaugh stealing signals. And this is what I said. I said, you know what? I had JT as a high school coach go with me to a scrimmage. I don't even know if he remembers this. And his job was really to look at those coaches and try to figure out whatever kind of clue he can get with hand signals and calls and things. Not only we weren't videotaping, we weren't all doing that stuff. And it wasn't very much, it didn't take him very long to figure out, oh, I know what they're doing. This is the formations. This is the something. Uh, this is the play. It's hard once you even get the signals to be able to get it to the player, right? But how is this really something we need to be worrying about, JT, with these hand signals and him stealing them?
The short answer that I had was no. When the headlines broke, the Michigan stealing signals, and I was like, okay, and like the opponents just need to be better at hiding their signals, changing their signals, making it harder to figure out. Because my first thought is something that we do all the time is we're standing on the sideline during the game and we're looking over there, and we played a team this year that was holding up signs that had numbers on it. Well, all right. Well, if they're gonna hold up the sign and I can see it from the sideline and we figure out what it is, then that's a you problem. That's not a me problem. Then it went from, okay, it's not from film and it's not that they're figuring out during the game. They actually bought tickets and went to the game and were stealing signals that way, which again, I was like, still sounds like a you problem, not a me problem. But apparently that's against NCAA rules. So if it's against rules, I guess I don't agree with that rule. I do think the last part of that where they're filming the sideline at the game, I think that is a step too far.
You can't do that.
I think that is unethical, but everything up to that point, I'm like, okay, so what? This is why when you're watching games and you see Lane Kiffin on the sideline, they got 3 people following around with 2 poles and a big tarp holding it up so that you can't see his signals. Because this is Michigan ain't the only team that's doing this, and I really think, as much as in people who have watched our show for a while know that for whatever reason, I still don't even have a good reason, but for whatever reason, I can't stand Jim Harbaugh. He annoys me. He rubs me the wrong way. But somebody's out to get this dude from him getting in trouble for buying a kid a cheeseburger to this signal stealing thing. The NCAA is out for him. They're trying to find anything they can to get rid of him. I don't understand how Jim Harbaugh gets a 3-game suspension for buying a kid a cheeseburger, and Tennessee is illegally paying players and doing shady deals and putting them on planes, handing cash out in McDonald's bags, and ain't nothing happened to them. So, look, man.
That was a big old burger, though, JT. It had lettuce and cheese and all this green stuff in it, man. But anyway, Lassic, man, look, we've been around this. We know we're always trying to get a competitive edge, right? People are trying to figure out ways to win. And one of them is trying to figure out how they can get signals. How many times have you heard of it in NFL, too? People shooting video up there, got some scout or something shooting video. Is it something that's just going to keep happening, or what? How do you feel about this?
Well, the solution is to allow the college players to have the microphones in their ear, like the pros. So then you take the signal stealing away. So even out the playing field. Because if the defense knows it's a running play, they have a tremendous advantage. They still have to stop the run, but they have an advantage. If they know it's a passing play, they have the advantage. They kind of know what we're doing, offense. I'm an offensive player, so, so if they just put the microphones in there, I think that'll, take care of the whole problem.
Speaking of which, as we had a comment saying, I bet communication helmets are coming soon. They are going to be trialed in bowl games this season, not in the playoffs. For all the other bowls that, quote unquote, do not matter, they will allow NFL-like communication in the headsets. I don't know what the rules are about it, but the NCAA said they're already gonna try and see what it's like.
How hard could it be? They're doing it in the NFL. I mean, they have the same helmets. Just use the same equipment that they're using.
And another thing from me last year, maybe it was 2 years ago, doing research on headsets for sideline communication, even just for high school. Coach Com, which services NFL all the way down to Pee Wee, they sell in helmet communication for high school right now. So it's not that hard. This is something that can be turned on probably tomorrow.
No, and what you need to know is, as the athletic director, John Paul II High School, and JT is the defensive coordinator for our football team at John Paul II High School. One of the things that we are looking at now is, and we are going to do it, as a matter of fact, in baseball, in high school, they now allow communication from the dugout to the pitcher or the catcher.
Is that the pitch com?
Yeah, so that they can actually communicate that way. So they had already started. Huddle had already created this Huddle sideline deal. It's legal in a lot of states. It is illegal in Texas because we play NCAA rules, which is UIL rules essentially, where most people follow NFHS rules for high school football in other states. Texas does not, so it is illegal for us to use it. So a lot of people are already using some type of sideline pictures and videos and things of that nature where we're not allowed to use it in Texas. But I think it's all going to get here sooner or later. I don't know why the NCAA doesn't allow it. Hey, that's a great question for Derrick Lassic. Does he age? Yeah, well, he might be on some.
Hey, well, they say black don't crack.
No, yeah, well, yeah, he dark skinned now. Thanks for
Hey, listen, hold on. I can make the locker black. You know what I'm saying? No, this shirt is black. You know. My mom and dad, they both age well, so at least I have that going for me. But my body is, I look good. But you can ask my wife. I spent the last month going to a chiropractor, going to an orthopedic surgeon, getting back injections. Man, it's just been a rough month, man. Once your back goes out, man.
Hey, man, I'm laughing. I'm sorry, I'm laughing because Jabba said you got that Just for Men NIL deal. That's funny.
Yeah, you getting clowned. Well, it's a good kind of clowning in chat right now.
Yeah, I got grades, but you know what I'm saying. I put a little something in there.
All right. So
not as white as you though, George.
Oh man, I stopped. I just I used to dye my hair a little bit. My wife said I might need to do it a little bit now. I did talk to my sister-in-law. She's going to start giving me some type of, well, it's not going to take it all away, but it's going to take a little bit away. She's like, you just need to take a little bit away. So,
right? Is it soap?
Oh, well, hold on. We got some. There's some information in here. Justin Riley says, "Don't forget, George and Derrick, you are eligible for the Legends NIL deal. Fans can purchase your Alabama jerseys." I didn't know this.
So. Well, I ain't forgot.
Okay.
I already got the thing. I just ain't sent my contract in yet. I don't even know. They said they ain't really going to negotiate with us. They're just going to give us what they're going to give us. But I think mailbox money is better than anything.
Yep.
Right?
Some money's better than no money.
You got something in mail?
Say one more time. I didn't hear.
You said you got something sent to you in the mail?
Oh, in the email. Yeah, I got it with the contract, with the verbiage and everything, so that we can sign up for it, so they can start paying. Basically, it was an email. Yep, I'll forward it to you so that you can have it.
If it comes by email, I don't recognize. I just erase.
Keep on erasing. You keep on erasing them dollar bills in a minute, man. You're doing
that now. Well,
You at least got to read the subject line.
That's right. So
if I don't recognize,
let me move on to the next one, right? So we're talking about what a bye week looks like. We're saying bye to a lot of things, right? So, and it could be different from a high school to college to pros. A lot of times you're looking back. A coach is looking back, doing some self-evaluation, checking their tendencies, that kind of thing. You always, there's a sour taste in your mouth when you lose going before it. So, there's all kind of things that you have to consider with the bye week. So Alabama's on the bye week. This one, they're getting ready to play LSU in a week. So what does this look like? Lassic, is there anything you can remember at all about the bye week when we actually played and what you actually experienced?
Man, I always stayed in the training table, T. You know that. So I was always in the training room. So I know I was beat up by the time we got our bye week. Other than me being in the training room, I don't remember anything else, doing anything else. It wasn't like a vacation or time away from football because we had to go to the training table to the facilities at early in the morning before class to get treatment. In the afternoon, you couldn't miss treatment. I mean, they could have gave me an ice and stem unit, and I could have did it from my room. Because I swear, you broke your arm, ice and stem. God bless Bill, Coach McDonald.
Hey, treatment is a lot different nowadays. It's not just that's all we
Man,
right. Oh, was ice in the slip.
I'm gonna get a little bit off topic here because this wasn't what we planned on. But since we're all unscripted and we just talk here, I went into the training room the other day. So one of my players was complaining about his shoulder, right? And I was asking him, I said, "Hey, is it up here on the top of your shoulder, or is it in here in the middle of your shoulder? Is it up here, sprain joint, in here, we might have a problem." He said it's in here. I said, well, you need to go talk to the trainer. So the next day, I go in and I ask her, hey, how's his shoulder doing? And she was like, well, we put on this thing that I never heard of, and then we put him in a game ready, and then we did this. And I was like, what are all these things you're talking about? I know it's English, but these things that are going on, I didn't hear you say ice. I didn't hear you say stem. I didn't hear you say like KT tape or nothing like that. It was all foreign stuff that I've never heard of.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's different nowadays, and I don't know if it's any better or whatnot. People are planning to go get cryotherapy. That's cold tub, but there ain't no ice and no water. It's just freezing you to death.
Yeah, I take the 3 minutes over that cold plunge, boy. Jeez.
Oh
Man,
boy, you get that cold tub up to your neck? What'd you do? Or could you get the jewels down in there? Or y'all just went to y'all knees and just left it right there, and that was it.
I used to put the footies on my toes because my toes would get frostbitten. I go in there with like some tights and some shorts to try to keep the good fellas good.
And for whatever reason, I couldn't. I used to do cold tubs every day after practice and every day after track practice in high school. But when I got to college, I don't know. The cold tubs was different. I couldn't do it anymore.
Yeah, but did you have ice in your cold tub or was it just cold water?
No, it was ice in both of them. They dump ice, put the water in there, and then they in high school they had the little thing where it like circulate the water. It was rotating.
Yes.
And in college, it was a trash can. Yeah, jump in. It's like, no, I'm not. I can't do this.
All right. So just to wrap this up, y'all tell me, what do y'all think Saban is doing this week? Is it all LSU and going beyond, getting your game plans ready, starting to see, potential opponents? Maybe, I don't know. Or is it just self-evaluation, figuring out what to do, how to get better, to progress forward for the rest of the year? JT, you go first.
I think this is, and I think he said this before, but I think it's a self-scouting week. This is the week where you get to kind of pause for a second. You look at the things that you feel like to this point in the season you should be doing correctly, and for whatever reason you're not, or you're not doing it to the best of your ability. And without having to install a new game plan, this is your time to fix those fundamentals, if you will, or your things that you should be doing every day by nature that you haven't been, that you're not at halfway. I guess we're a little more than halfway through the season. Less so looking at LSU because you got another week, and I'm sure he's got staffers and other coaches scouting, doing all that stuff, maybe looking at signals. Who knows? But as far as the players, what they're going through in practice, I think has nothing to do with LSU. More of how do we just become a better football team? How do we reduce the penalties? How do we get our steps right on these blocks? How do we get our steps right on press? Those small things that maybe they aren't doing as well as they should have.
All right. Would you take the same approach, Derek? Just look back at ourselves and try to figure out what's better for Bama football, or do you go ahead a little bit?
Well, what I would do is definitely scrap the stuff that we didn't do well and find out what we did well and kind of perfect it a little more during this upcoming week. I think they will implement some things that they'll see from LSU offensively and defensively, and just kind of put in a small a third of the game plan for the LSU week. So when they hit the ground running Monday, first practice, they'll already have a foundation of what they're going to do during the LSU week preparation, and then they'll install the rest of the 2/3 of the other plays.
Yep, and I would concur with both of them. I think that you're probably getting a lot of rest and recovery. That it's a long season, it's a grind. These guys are playing 13, 14, 15, a lot of football games. They're playing an NFL season, and you really got to put those guys back together. So Lassic headed, I bet there's a lot of training room. There is some film study on the past, maybe a little bit of how to get better afterwards, but it's really trying to make corrections on how we might not have played the best from a player standpoint, and then the coaches are really trying to figure out, okay, what are the best plays we got. Okay, so we got a couple minutes.
Before we get into Tennessee, we got a couple viewer questions. First one being, it seems that after a bye week, a quote November Warrior emerges. Some we don't expect. Who would be candidates for this team? So who do you think may step up and take on a bigger role going forward after this bye week? Or just play better. Maybe just turn into a guy that we haven't seen all year.
Well, one of the things we talked about, and he's playing well already, and it really depends on his health. I'm very interested to see how Terrion Arnold actually ends up playing, because I think it's going to be critical to the success of our defense in the passing game. The passing game, I know you got to stop the run and all that kind of stuff, and I think we're doing a whole lot better there. But with the amount of man-to-man we're playing out on the edges, we really need him to be the guy that he has been, and I'd like to be able to see him get his hands on football a little bit more. We'll be able to talk about some technique stuff on that. Don't forget about those things, people. Make sure you're subscribing to our YouTube channel, because we do break down films where you can see the drops on Fridays and Mondays, typically on some technique or some schemes. So I'm going with I want to watch him. I want to watch number 3 and see what's happening there. What about you guys?
I'm going to watch number 30. What's the name? Jaheim Campbell? Is that
Jahai Campbell?
30?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's been going on, and he's been playing some good football. So I'm interested in seeing how he progresses the last part of the season. I think he's going to be a key to the defense playing sound.
Okay. Next question. Derek George and JT, how will Tommy Rees game plan against Brian Kelly, especially with Kelly knowing his tendencies?
Well, first I want to give another shout out to the Bama Standard and Justin and the gang for joining forces with us. We do appreciate it, man. You guys do a great job. Make sure you guys are tuning in to what they do. They're on Tuesday night, 6 p.m. Central Time. Do a fabulous job giving you all the insight. They're insiders. They got good knowledge. So make sure that you guys give them a follow and a shout. As much as you can, because we love being guests on this show. They're hilarious, but they give you everything that you need to know. So, question being, with Tommy Rees game plan against Brian Kelly, especially with Kelly knowing his tendencies, you know what? It's kind of the same thing I asked about the Cowboys when Kellen Moore left and went to the Chargers. He'd been with the Cowboys all this time, and you figure out, hey, what do you do? What do you got to do? I did actually have the opportunity to speak to some people about what do you do as coaches when you know someone just left your program, a player, a coach. They know what your tendencies are, what you try to do. Um, and the answer is you do what you got to do that you got to win the game. You know they're going to have it, but you got to add some wrinkles. If they're thinking about this, you got to have some what ifs. They're going to line up against us like this because they know that we're going to do this. So we need to have a counter. Derrick Lassic was just talking about boxing and all this kind of stuff. Taekwondo. They study enough film. They know what you're going to do or what your likes are, but you got to be smart enough as a coach to add something else to that. And that's the progression that I've actually seen with Tommy Reese. And that's the part we're going to get to this film when you start seeing his running plays and things that they're doing. There's been a gradual progression. Um, so um, there it is. What Kelly up to? What's she saying, JT?
Yep. Kelly Weathersby with a super chat. She says, now that Milroe is somewhat settled in his role as QB1, what kind of game plan do you foresee Reese implementing for him? Derek, you got any ideas? I mean, I hope it's more QB run.
Well, I want to answer, piggyback on that last
Okay.
little question. He made his tendencies, but it's not like he brought his offense to Alabama, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he's running Alabama's system. So it's not like Coach O'Brien has an advantage there. You know, he had to learn Alabama's system. And what was the other question?
The other question from Kelly Weathersby. Now that Moreau is somewhat settled in his role as QB1, what kind of game plan do you foresee Reese implementing for him?
Well, we know he throws the long ball good, right? So they need to watch some of Baltimore Ravens offense and piggyback off of some of the stuff that they do. I was watching having Lamar Jackson roll left or right and have a tailback or a tight end in the flats. You know, and if they take that away, then he can go deep. Or if they take the deep ball away, throw it to the guy underneath, and then you still have the option to run. They need to implement something like that in their system because he's too good of an athlete to be stuck in the pocket.
That's right. That's right.
They roll him, and that'll help the offensive line. If you got a weak offensive line, how do you help them? Roll the quarterback.
I agree, and thank you, Kelly, for the super chat and the contribution to the program. I do want to say I think that if you watch it, and I don't have this on the film, I need to go back and get it, JT. But there were some very unique runs that they put in with Jalen Milroe. I put the running play with the running back on it. But if you go back and watch this Tennessee game, you'll see these. They're like outside leads. It looked like a sweep with Jalen Milroe. He ran it down the goal line the first time where they, now offenses are going both directions and the quarterback's going out one way. And they did a really, really good job with that. So I think that you're going to see Jalen Milroe use his legs a little bit more. JT and I actually pointed out to everyone a little while ago, a couple of shows ago, where we thought a play was going to be a quarterback counter. You remember JT, and he handed it off.
Yep, that's when we had Bo on.
Yeah, and then the next week they actually ran the quarterback counter. He didn't read it. He didn't run it correctly. He actually didn't keep it inside. He actually went outside. I did look at that. And then now I think that they're going to be working on, hey, follow your pullers, stay inside. And this is what I'm really interested in talking to Derrick about of angles when you're running plays. What's the difference between a trap, a counter, all the things that me and JT have kind of tried to highlight with you guys. But as a running back, what are they really looking at? And when do they know when they need to bounce outside of a puller and stay behind the puller? And so when you got a running quarterback, you'll see that it becomes tougher to do. JT's giving you a little bit of tease here.
Oh, I thought you were setting me up this time because I missed it the last time. My bad.
No, I think it's great because this is probably the point where you need to go ahead and tell the folks that are on the
that are listening to this recorded, which I've done a terrible job at posting these. So terribly sorry for you podcast folks. That's why you should be here on YouTube because I I don't forget to go to YouTube, but I do forget to post it. So if you are listening to this on the recorded portion after the show in your favorite podcast catcher, whether that's Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, Overcast, wherever, we're about to get into some film. So make sure that you come find us, live.teaguesteak.com. It'll drop you right into our latest video. You can catch us about 35 minutes in. So we'll see you next time if you are listening to the recorded podcast. If you are not, and you're still here, then we're going to break down some film, maybe draw on the screen a little bit, provided my iPad's working.
Yep. All right. Well, good. Okay. So while he's getting himself set up, thank you guys for that. This is the part where we start getting to this film. So JT, the technical one, analytical one, all this stuff, kind of stuff, he may be able to draw up on here. But I want you to look at this, and this is where I want. Let me set it up for you guys a little bit, right? So we've been talking a lot about what a counter looks like, what a trap looks like. Traps typically have one puller kicking out somebody. Typically, the running back is staying behind the puller. Counters typically have two pullers, right? That doesn't necessarily mean both linemen. It could be a tight end and a guard, a tackle and a tight end, a tackle and a guard. There's a bunch of different ways to do that. And so when I saw this one, fellas, this was different for me. So what I want you guys to look at is the left guard, right? First of all.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, that would be fine too, because that's the other guy that I want you to see is Oates, the fullback, tight end kind of thing. And it's very different because they're opposite of each other. I want your eyes to go to what I'm going to call the tight end. So we can call him a tight end, right? If you guys agree with that.
Sure.
So when we start the play, I want you to see what his motion is and what he does. All right. So JT can roll the clip. So he actually goes left when the puller's going right, and then he turns up into the hole. Now, there's a lot of stuff that you can look at the wide receiver. We'll get into what Milroe's supposed to do. JT and I kind of talked about this a little bit later. They're setting up an option to come out the backside of this, which I think is going to be fabulous if they actually do it. But so they got the puller coming from left to right, and then is this a lead blocker? Is this a puller? What are we saying? I'm gonna start with Derrick first. What do you think this guy is? Is he a puller or a lead blocker?
To me, he's a lead blocker. Old school, the quarterback would be underneath center. The fullback would be in front of me behind the quarterback. So new age, they have us. He's in a shotgun, so he's just lead blocking. He's leading up into the hole. Now my eyes are going to first look at the line of scrimmage to determine what front they're in. It's 4-3-3-4. So I'll have an idea on where the lineman's going to block the guy and where he's going to kick him out at. I'll peek over here to the right to check out, where this left guard is going to come in, the man he's going to kick out, because I know I'm coming backside. I know I can either get on his hip or I can follow the fullback into the hole. So it depends on what breaks, what happens.
Okay, and that's excellent. So this guard, so get in that a little bit more. The guard is essentially responsible for this backer standing down.
Which guard are we talking about? We're talking about left guard or right guard?
The left guard is basically responsible for the end man on the line of scrimmage on the S. Correct?
Oh,
yeah.
Other way.
Yeah.
He's actually responsible for him
right.
as he's pulling. He's actually coming for him. Everybody else is blocking down. Now, our right tackle, and this might be hard for you to see, and this is why I'm trying to figure out if it's a power play or – all right, so we're not linemen here, right? But if you were sitting here with a lineman coach, and I've been a head football coach for a long time, and I studied a lot of this and going to the film. So the differences between the power and just a counter is that our right guard and our right tackle, so they're going to double up on the one technique essentially, um, and they're going to go to the backside linebacker. Y'all stay with me here if y'all can. Okay, it's kind of hard for us to try to draw on the screen. Backside linebacker is standing in the middle of the A, basically, right? So they got a choice to go there or even further back. And that's why I was saying I don't know if they made a mistake or if they're trying to go, and there's another guy coming into the box because we're running motion that way. I think it's a better play actually, guys, if he don't even come.
Yeah, if he doesn't have the motion, because you're actually going to take this guy and either drag him this way, or there's a safety that's sitting right here. You can see a shadow that might be coming down like this.
That's right. So they're actually bringing another guy in the box, but we'll get to that part later. So, and this is why, and I love what Lassic is saying, right? So because typically when you see the power is taking the fullback on the defensive end, which will be the guy on the S, but our guard is going to him. So I'm really confused on what this is. I like what he's saying. I just don't know how to. I think it works perfectly and it's working fine. I just don't know what you call it. Is it a power or a counter? All right. So we'll get JT's take on it too. I'll let him run it again so that you guys can see everything that we're talking about. Look at the interior lineman while he's doing this. When he runs it, go ahead and run it. You can see the right guard and the right tackle. Double up. He comes off really fast to the linebacker.
To me, more of a power because I'm watching the running back's foot and he takes a drop step. If it's a counter, he's going to, shuffle to one side and go to the other. So watch the runner takes a drop step. Boom.
That's interesting. So,
counters are.
I'm trying to switch the color for chat. Red is apparently not working, so I'm going to try blue. Chat, let me know. So what we're looking at right here is this guy, and we're looking at his foot.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So what he's saying is, I'm gonna try really hard to stop it. There it is. Ah, damn it. That's all right.
Go ahead, run it back. You can get it. Yeah. So he sees that drop step, and you're saying when he takes the drop step, that means
it's a power play.
Power. That right there.
Right, because now he's going straight downhill. You're not getting this action, right?
Yeah, because on the counter, you're going to counter and shuffle, so you give the offensive lineman, as you said, two pullers, the opportunity to pull, and then you can get up behind them. So that's why your footwork would be different. So he would have countered to the right. He would have step, and then planted, and then came back right if it was a counter. Step left, and then come back right for a counter. He's just taking a drop step. So to me, that's a power play.
So this is interesting to me, right? And I don't know that I'm giving Tommy Reese the credit for this, okay? And maybe we need to be thinking different. And that's why I want to ask you, how you guys feel about this Nick Saban as he drawn it. Because would y'all agree this is different? I don't know if y'all seen anything like this. I've never really seen anything like this.
Yeah, we haven't run I haven't seen it in the past couple of years.
Yeah, so I think this is different. So someone had to be sitting here saying, okay, we got to give this kind of look. How do we make it look a little bit different? Because who does this really mess up? Because I'm looking at the tight end and I'm going, what? How did he even come up with that? What is it? Who's it really fooling? What is it? Are you thinking, are they doing this because of all of the behind the line? So typically when they take off this way, 45 will be going over to take the other defensive end.
Yeah, maybe what you got is you're thinking you're getting this motion.
Yes.
And you're going to get this backer flying out to take it.
Yeah.
Maybe. Cuz this route is hard, right? If you're going to sneak him out of the back.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
While you also got this guy coming this way, maybe what they're trying to do is get these linebackers' eyes to say, "Hey, I got to get out here to the flat right now." And then that's when you hit him with the this pull. He's faking. He's coming up here, and then it's a lot of lines. But
Yeah, okay. The only if you can get rid of those, if you just the safety that's following our guy, if you can circle him, he's the one who actually ends up making the tackle. And that's why I say it probably would have been better if you don't. So there's two more steps in this, right? Y'all know who I'm talking about? The guy that's just outside the hash mark on the top.
Mm-hmm.
yep, this one right here.
He follows the motion. Yes. So he follows the motion in. So we're gonna run it one time, and I need y'all to keep your eye on him because we don't have anybody to block him, right? Because of the motion. So go ahead and let it run, JT. You can see that he's scot-free, right? So he gets in on the tackle. Okay, now stop it right here. Now I want you, and this is the last piece of the play that I think this is very interesting. The motion by the slot receiver, he actually pivots.
Yeah, he's about to go back. Oh, this looked like speed option, coach.
Yes, sir. You see what I'm talking about, baby? This is some good shit. And this is why I'm talking about where we don't really get to see this because now what we're talking about, and they actually the defensive end. So at the top. So Mill and the wide receiver are about to come back out the backside, which would ultimately only leave that one defensive back out there. Everybody else is blocked. He's already down in there on the line. This could be a huge ass play. And so I don't know if y'all if I made that clear to everybody, but that's what this is the progressions that I'm talking about that they're putting in, that it's not a huge play. You know, he gets whatever it is, 4 or 5 yards or whatever, but the piece that comes off of it now, the coordinator, JT is a defensive coordinator. If he's looking at this, he's got to be saying,
"Oh yeah, I'm telling my aunt like, yo, man," and I'm also talking to the safety too. Like, hey, man, you are cutback boot reverse. So if this thing leaks out the back, defensive end, you got the quarterback. This dude that ends up making the tackle on the hash. You know this. Where's my pointer at? This guy. I'm telling him, hey, you got pitch man. Because if you don't.
Yeah.
This is going for 53 yards for a touchdown.
Right. See, and so that's why this play is intriguing to me. I know we led up on the is it a counter, is it a power, and all this, but this is the stuff when we say get ready, Peter, because they're going to be watching. Now, Milroe, look at that fake Milroe does. That's a bullshit ass fake. We talked about this last week.
Yeah.
He can't do that. He just can't stand that.
Hey, as Coach Stark said, hey, if you want to watch the game, buy a ticket.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, you can go sit in the stands like everybody else, or you can just you can get on Michigan staff.
I know
Right.
receivers aren't the greatest at blocking, but they can also have that receiver that's coming back, come down and block this guy and have Milrose out to the races. That'll be a hard pitch going to the left, I would think. So I'd much rather have the wide receiver block that in and keep the ball in Milrose's hands.
JT got some old fancy. What you doing?
I'm trying to. I keep moving my iPad and the stuff keeps changing. I'm trying to fix it. My bad. Very unprofessional.
Okay. But either way, very intriguing. I think we continue to watch this and look this and see what happens. Whether they, I mean, there's so many different things you can do. Just think about how people run the option. Shoot, Jalen Milroe can flip his head out to the bottom side. Honestly, that's what option teams do, those reverse options. I don't know what it's called, but the dive back goes one way. This is a triple option.
Mm-hmm.
So when we're asking, hey, what are we going to see? That someone from the chat asks, I think this is what you're going to see. You're going to see stuff like this, just adding a little bit. Can't put it all in because it takes a lot of time, Lassic, to try to figure out spacing and when you pitch it on and who's on the same page.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, it does.
Uh,
Especially if you're
okay.
not used to running an option. So to me, I would eliminate one and have this guy become the blocker, or you can throw it to the receiver and have the receiver throw the ball to this receiver at the top if you wanted to get fancy dancy with it.
Oh,
But
I think that's a little too that's a little too fancy now. We're trying to do
That's for the
too
national
much.
championship game. That's
yeah,
national championship. You got to take a little bit of time on it.
but you give the defense a lot of things to look at. You know what I'm saying?
For
So
real.
that's what you want to do. Make the defensive coordinator have to look at every little thing.
All right. Well, we didn't dove into that one enough. Thank you guys for paying attention to this. I want to go to the next play because I want to hear Lassic's take on blocking a little bit. This one, if I can set this up to you, this is a pass. This is the very first big completion that well, really the only completion, the only explosive play that we might first half actually. So it is a pass play. Um, it's a double end. Yep, we'll get into that a little bit. That just means the receivers at the top are running in routes. And so, what I want to think about is on the first thing that I want to concentrate on is a run again protection. We hit on this with Bo Scar, a couple weeks ago or whenever it was about pass and what that looks like. So, running back this time has pass protection. I think we call this a slide protection. We'll have Lassic tell us if we all the linemen are going to look going left and the running back's going to step right. He actually got a blitzing safety who's 10 away from the line of scrimmage, and that is going to be running back's game. Now he whiffs. That I want Lassic to kind of, how they practice on this stuff. What kind of coaching can they give to him on this play?
Well, I'm gonna tell him make sure inside out first of all. So make sure he doesn't blitz in between that right guard and right tackle. All right. So you want to protect inside out. So once he comes to the outside, the running back gets too close to the tackle. You see his leg? It hits the back of the tackle's leg, which throws the tackle off balance, which throws the running back off balance. So that's two no-nos. I said, look, don't get too close to the tackle where you have no leverage, no power because his leg is hitting your leg and you're off balance. But thank God he's forcing him outside, so it gave the quarterback enough time to make the play. But first of all, he has to maintain distance from that tackle so he doesn't interrupt the tackle while he's engaged in his block. That's his first mistake.
That's the point. I didn't really think about them crossing that to his balance, which caused him to lose the balance, right?
Yeah.
So what is he looking back if Jay it back right now? What is a quarterback or how is he and who he's supposed to be looking at this point in time? I know you don't know what the pass protection is, but is this obvious saying, hey, I got to take this safety or something? But what are his eyes? What is he on?
90% of the time, we're going to have the safety. We're going to be responsible for a safety if he blitzes the back. So we're first going to look at that safety. If he drops, then we know we can go into our pass route. If not, when we go into our pass route, we want to chip, if the route permits it, we want to chip that defensive end to kind of help the offensive lineman. Once we recognize the blitz, we got to sit in there and be solid. As coach would say, hit him in the chest, and you want to catch him in the traffic. Chest and traffic. So we want to catch him in the line of scrimmage, where he doesn't have a lot of speed and leverage. See, I never like to wait for the blitzer to come. I like to meet him up in the mush where the offensive linemen are, where he's trying to avoid the lineman to get there, and that kind of slows him down and he loses some speed and strength. And I can catch him in a hole in that mush. Because if he gets past that line of scrimmage and you're catching him 3-4 yards in the backfield, chances are he's gonna run you over. Unless you're unless you're Martin Houston, where you built low, to the ground and your powerful is all outdoors. Martin was the only guy I know could get away with something like that. But a small back
Mm.
like me, I played at 195 pounds. So them 230-pound linebackers, and a 220-pound safety coming from 15 yards, you got to get low, stay low.
Okay. All right. JT, you need to add anything about that? I don't know how much blitz pickup you do when you were playing.
It wasn't this elaborate. I mean, I don't think I've ever had to pick up a blitzing safety. It was usually an outside linebacker, an inside linebacker. High school level safeties don't blitz that often.
Yep. Not 100% agree. Okay. So, all in, if you look at the timing of it, you know, we'll get into how Milrow actually handled that piece in a minute because I want us to talk about the receivers at the top, double in. So this is a deeper throw. We know that we did better at the deeper throws, but this intermediate throw where they said he normally couldn't hit it. Double ends create some issues for uh, secondary a little bit. Because it doesn't really matter if you're in zone or man, right? Because you're trying to find areas. So there are windows that the quarterback looks at. The slot guy at the top is trying to get inside, maybe draw a linebacker inside. Then the outside guy is basically, yeah, following him. JT's drawing uh, right now, and they're both going to come back inside uh, in those windows. And Euro has to do a really good job with it. Give him some praise a little bit because when JT starts to roll this film and you get the releases of the wide receivers, we also got to look at what Jay actually his eyes. I think this is one play. So go ahead and hit the play. Um, so stop. See Miro, middle fielder at the safety. When you go a little bit later, he's actually looking right. Then he comes all the way back to the left. So really, he got guys. There's three guys that are open, right?
Yeah.
The guy
Yeah.
in the flat. The flat is at the 30-yard line, tight end.
Uh-huh.
Both the throws it right in the middle of the field. They got the bottom of the circle at the 45. That's an easy throw. And Lord, what do you want to do? But before you go any further, just look at what the lineman did in the pocket. So this is where we got to say, okay, is this a good thing about a quarterback standing in the pocket? I would say yes. Would y'all agree with that or no? He's got people around his legs. We just talked about the guy that kind of missed him, lineman. That's kind of hard to do. Imagine. I don't know if I could have stood in there and not start trying to step up.
Yeah, I mean this shows a little bit of growth, right? Sitting in there and then trying to actually make a throw because I think early in the year he would have already tried to spin out and break the pocket, right, and then hold on to the ball, probably take a sack because not throwing the ball away. But I think this is very good, being able to handle the chaos around you, feel protected by your lineman, and just sit in here, go through your progression.
Yeah. What do you think, Lassic, before he starts to play anymore?
Well, I think good. I wouldn't have mind if he would have stepped up or start coming up to have this linebacker come forward a little bit and give him a little more space to hit that middle receiver.
Mhm.
But it does show he has trust and confidence in his offensive line.
Okay. Then if you let it go, if you look at this is a tight, it's on point. There's nothing. I mean, it's a dynamic pass. To what's up, Monica? Glad you're here. So that is I just think it's a good play all around. We'll let it run. You can let it run all the way through. You know, you can check out the running back. He kind of will and moves to the left a little bit. That's a big ass play. And I'm with you. I don't think he throws this in week 2 at all. I'm thinking he's already running.
Yep.
The week. He's not even, and he probably not even throwing it away. He's just gonna take it back. So I think that a positive that we can look forward to, and if he can do things like this consistent, and those other things we just showed you, runs, he's pulling the ball, running speed options, doing these things. This is dangerous. I mean, Lassic put the best point out there. Look at some Lamar Jackson film, and see what he's doing. This is good stuff. This guy's only a sophomore, right? He's only a sophomore. He got a lot of time left, I think.
Yeah, he's got 2 on paper. I would have liked to seen him hit number 17 though, because he's so explosive and when he gets the ball, like he says he's the fastest on the team. I'd like to see him and Milroe race.
Milroe is the fastest guy on the team. I don't know what they're talking about.
But 17 Bond said he's the fastest on the team, so I want to see them race.
Well, whatever, Bond. That's all I'm gonna say. Whatever. I didn't see what it looked like. So there it is, man. Those are some great things for you. I think Lassic gave us all some really good points, particularly on the footwork on the counter. Is an amazing job. And that's why I'm very thankful that he was able to come on and spend some time with us. I need to say thank you again to the Bama Standard and all of the viewers of the Bama Standard for coming on and some time with us. All the Teaguers, that you guys get some follows to the Bama Standard show on Tuesday, Central Time. It's amazing. So I think if we work off each other, that's a great thing to do. Big shout out, Lassic. You are the man. You are the MVP. You're a champion. You don't wear it. You don't talk about it enough. I played 9 years and I ain't got no ring. You got yours your first year. Got in, doing your thing, doing your big stuff. So
I was blessed. I don't know if I'd rather have 9 years of the Super Bowl ring, but I was blessed. And I know I was the 3rd player in NFL history to win a national championship and a Super Bowl in consecutive years. There have been plenty of players who've done it since. I think there's like 10 or 11 now, but I was the 3rd player, so I'm in the NFL record books. Can't take that away from me. Yeah, I didn't play long. Yeah,
and
yeah.
I would like to look at those stats to see how many of those guys after you are actually from Alabama. That actually,
there's a few from Alabama. There's the Dante Hightower. I know he's a player. Whoever went to New England from Alabama, and then there was, I think, Baltimore won the Super Bowl, and we had a couple of players on their team back when Ray Lewis was playing. So I won a national championship. Yeah, but don't forget to send me that with that information.
I got you. I will send that to you because I need to turn in my sheet and start making this money too. They're doing an Upshaw, he says. John Davis, thank you guys for tuning in. But again, we appreciate this time. This is the time we need to get our little exit jam. They say you ain't got to go home. You got to get up out of here, man, because Teague takes it about to be over. So we want to make sure that you guys hit that subscribe button, the like button. Find us on Twitter. Find us. Man, brother, I see you jamming over there going back to the day. It's the big one, baby. It's the big one. And it's going to be a bigger one. Next Wednesday, 8:15. Y'all come find us. All right? We're going to have another former player on talking about some offensive line stuff. So y'all get with us. I'm saying this to y'all. Peace.